wena drive.
The responsibility to license drivers and vehicles remains only with government. And yet, you have drivers of e-hailing vehicles, taxi drivers, scholar transport. All of these guys do not have professional driving permits. Majority of the vehicles and the taxis, the e-hailing cars that we jump into, don't have permits. The law requires that they should. What is the problem? Sanbonan, my name is Isaack Lesole. Today we'll be dealing with something very, very, very interesting. The responsibility of government. What happens when government drops the ball? What becomes the impact of an instance where government has dropped the ball? I'll tell you now. Part of that includes violence, market saturation, and opportunities for corruption. You would know that right here in Johannesburg, about a week or so ago, JMPD visited Rosebank, a popular spot right there by John Smart's, no, not John Smart's, Oxford Road, just before the zone. And majority of the scooter drivers there, majority of them are actually delivering on behalf of Mr. Delivery, Uber Eats, and others. It has now been found that majority of the guys that were there do not have their permits, just valid documents to be in the country, let alone the fact that they do not have the scooters do not have the permits to do so. They themselves did not have the professional driving permits. And yet government has trusted e-hailing platforms to register and represent. So e-hailing platforms have become agencies, de facto agencies for the department. And they have dropped the ball, understandably, because they want more people. So what now happens is that anybody who jumps into, who wants to be on any of the platforms, whether it's InDrive, whether it's Bolt, whether it's, because they know that government has no capacity to provide or give people the necessary documents, they have become the agencies themselves. In actual fact, this is equapa. There's an equapa phenomenon in the taxi industry. It's the most dangerous phenomenon or concept that has seen actually destroyed the taxi industry. And I'm going to explain what this is. But I'm going to go on and say, if you go towards the airport, you go to Pretoria, vehicles of the e-hailing vehicles are being impounded. We all know of the Wanatu or Varnatu situation in Pretoria, where government itself impounded. So the local government, Tshwane Metro, impounded the vehicles of this new e-hailing platform. But they had to take government to court and won. You know why? Because it was proven that we have made applications, but you as government, you failed. Now I want us to break this equapa phenomenon down. Equapa in the taxi industry is when an association is being given a permit to operate a specific route. But then the association itself is the one that deploys the vehicles from its members on the route itself. So the permission, after the association has received or obtained a permit to an operating license, then the association itself now takes the responsibility of allowing, rejecting, or approving, whatever it is, approving vehicles to be on a specific route, if such, or if those vehicles are owned by their members. Now, equapa is this. Any member of the association can actually bring his brother, his wife, uncle, take a taxi under their name and use their status as a member in good standing with a specific association and deploy the vehicles. Now, here's the problem. The problem is that when you take 5 or 10 vehicles on the same route from different people, you have actually opened that route for problems. And I'm going to tell you how. It has now been proven that Isaac, who has one vehicle, comes into that route and he goes to a traffic cop or a police officer. He gets the vehicle, and in some cases, in fact, we've just proven, in fact, we're going to run an episode where we're seeing that even Nigerians and Ethiopians have bought vehicles and deployed them in different routes. And the people who are who have these kind of vehicles, now Isaac fronts for people. So there are people behind Isaac who are just deploying vehicles and using Isaac's status as a member. Some of these things, they happen in such a way that they destroy the route feasibility. And this is how it does, how they do it. If I take 5 or 10 vehicles, so most of the organizations or associations are trying to regulate, and others would say that each member can only bring up to 10, up to 5, whatever number that the association would agree upon. But there are those who would bring as many as they want. I mean, as a matter of fact, there's a situation right here in Gauteng, somewhere around the border of city of Joburg and Ekurhuleni, I think around Bedford View, where one member brought 20 vehicles. And those who were found, who've been operating that route, could no longer make money or revenue out of that route. And anyone whose vehicle was financed on that route, they started losing their vehicles because there are no means for anyone to check. There's no market intelligence for us to determine how many vehicles the market can carry, because the number of passengers is not growing. When you keep on bringing the vehicles, the market is not growing with the vehicles. So the saturation of the market, we are not making the money, and we start seeing by the reduction of loads per day. You used to do 5 loads, you're struggling to make 4 loads per day. You're now not able to pay for your installments, you now can't maintain the vehicle, you can't pay the insurance, and we've spoken about these things before. But it has become so serious now that the industry is losing itself. Financial records can show that everywhere in the country, all associations are now beginning to have problems with this. You can't afford anything. So maybe at this point we must ask, can the industry, taxi, can you afford this equapa phenomenon beyond this? I'll tell you this, you can't. But here's an interesting thing. We can talk about it with the taxi industry. But Uber, Bolt is doing exactly that. They obtain the license to do certain things. They just plug in vehicles to the detriment and the collapse of those that are already on the route or a specific location, if you like. And nobody's talking about them because they are now representing government. And I don't know if government has ever given them the right to be an agency of government to take applications from it, because they always say that no, we do a bulk application on behalf of our people. But the licenses are still not coming out. I've been talking to a number of drivers who are now even afraid to go to the airport, because even the state itself, the responsibility of issuing these licenses, both for the vehicle and the driver, sits with the Department of Transport at the provincial level. So those that are executing the law at a local level, there is nothing that changes that. So they expect you, when you come into a specific area, they expect you to have a license, a professional driving permit. They also expect you to have a permit for your vehicle as an operating. But these things are not there. It is not your problem. It's created by the inefficiencies and the incapacity of government to provide you with this service. I mean, this is our government. Not so long, you and I will not even be able to renew our own driver's license because the machine is broken. Some parts are somewhere in Germany. They can't get onto the ship to come to South Africa. So even the smart card that you're waiting for might come years from now. So we have created a gap. But here's something that I want to talk about. These inefficiencies of government, some of you are being penalized even though you have applied. There are people that I spoke to that made these applications as far back as just post-COVID. They have not seen the color of the permit. And I'm saying, in instances where people are penalized for the inefficiencies of government, it is important that we hold government to account. Impounded vehicles, for you to get an impounded vehicle back, you have to pay almost 5,000 rand. At least I know that in Gauteng. 5,000 rand to go get the vehicle. No negotiation. Even if you have proof, because and they're right. The Metro Police will always say a receipt that you applied is not a proxy. It's not a replacement of the actual permit. So a proof that you've applied for an ID, you can't go into the bank and open a bank account with proof that you've applied, because that's not the ID. Similarly, these guys are doing this. But this is what has happened. Because of these inefficiencies, the state has now opened a market for corruption. Because when you go into the roadblock and they start asking you for a permit, either for yourself as a driver or that of the vehicle, it's either you're going to get mercy from these guys or you're going to have to buy your way out. So the state has opened the market for corruption. So the question is, if this is the case, now we know that the traffic officers are enjoying this because everybody on the road has a weakling. The weakling that has not been created by yourself. You are paying for what you are not supposed to. You are being penalized for the mistakes that are not yours. Why can't we hold government to account? Why can't we get government to do what it's supposed to do? Just to govern. You know, the reason why I love AfriForum, I don't like them because they create stories that people are white people are being killed in South Africa, as if black people are going everywhere and killing white people. Some nonsense that I don't know where it comes from. But this is what I like about them. They are very determined in making sure that the government is held accountable. But they also don't just hold government accountable by taking government to court on the basis of the legislation that is in existence. Where government fails, they themselves take initiatives. I mean, they will close the potholes in the areas where it matters to them. They themselves, when they feel like farmers are being killed, they'll put up a security company that would deal with the security of the farmers, even though they claim that farmers are being killed, without saying that their security guys are actually failing. But it's another discussion. But the point I'm trying to make is, we as South Africans, and especially black business, we have become victims because we have allowed people to take advantage of us, including the state. So a failing state, an incapable state, creates opportunities for corruption. Now the likes of the e-hailing platforms, the taxi industry are now occupying the space, and this is the reason why the taxi industry has been pushing back on the transformation and professionalization of the industry. They didn't know that that's actually market cannibalization. You cannibalized your market because you did certain things without depending on what we call data or market intelligence. You can't keep on throwing vehicles because you are fighting for members. So you bring a member, then they bring 2 vehicles. You need to stop. Soon you guys will run out of business because your calculation in terms of the vehicles that you're bringing onto a specific road are not based on anything. You need help. Help is here. And maybe I must declare, we talk a lot about the taxi industry, a lot, as if we are about the taxi industry. No. It's because, one, we've always said from the beginning that we are a public transport show. So we will talk about the e-hailing, we will talk about the trains, we will talk about the buses, we will talk about the taxis. The reason why there's so much emphasis on the taxis is because they're responsible for almost 70% of the commuting public in the country. And our interest as an organization, as a show, is to help the industry save itself. You've had all the chances and opportunities to regulate yourselves, but you've created or committed fatal, very lethal mistakes that the industry is now on the verge of collapse. Our interest is to save the industry. We want to save the industry on condition that it can be better for the people that it is serving. The passengers are complaining about you. The treatment is not good. Who needs to do something about this? We want to work with you, help you where we can. And we're not claiming that we have all solutions. But you need mediation services, you need market intelligence capabilities, you need digitization of the routes, all of these things are available and you can get assistance from our end. But any of these things will only work if we agree that the passenger is the only asset that you're going to have to prepare. So your market is saturated. There's an oversupply of vehicles. You're not making money. You will never make money if you think that you will replace money with guns. So can you stop with this guns business? Because it's not making sense. Not so long you'll not be able to even buy these guns. So let's confront the truth. So the state is failing to issue permits and licenses. I said that the only machine that we have in the country that prints driver's licenses is not working. The e-hailing platforms have turned themselves into becoming agencies of government, unchecked and unregulated. They are collecting money. But those who have power challenge government. You remember the 1 or 2 thing I spoke about? They challenged government and they won. All we want to do with this episode is to say, government needs to be held accountable. Do not drop the ball any further. Uber, Bolt, You are not agencies of government. I don't know if it's legally permissible that you can collect on behalf of government. I don't know if that's legally permissible. Can I open a store outside my office and ask everybody to bring their permits here? Because I am an agent that will represent government, or a mediator, an intermediary between government and the drivers. I don't know if it's legally permissible, especially if you can promise people, especially if you can guarantee people that are your applicants that they will get what they are paying for. You're becoming an intermediary. You are charging people for something, but you can't guarantee that they'll get there. So it means that we need to correct the state. We need to hold the state accountable. The monies that you are losing with impoundments, with tickets, all of that, all of this are supposed to be put together and show the state that the damages that you are exposed to every day, so that the state can do something about this. So I'm here to make a plea. One, that for the taxi industry, can we stop a little bit with this equapa thing? Can we stop? But Chairman, can we stop a little bit? Especially where you know that the vehicles, your members are not making money. Because that's the reason why you start fighting. You're fighting for positions because you want influence. Please stop. Can we first make sure that the current members are making money? Can we not start measuring your success on the number of members you have, but let's measure success on how your members are making money, not the number of people, but whether they are making money. You are leading members that are dying of diseases, heartache, depression, all of these things because they're not making money. You're now chairing and leading an association with half of your vehicles are unroadworthy. It must bother you. Once your members are not able to buy new vehicles, can't afford new vehicles, once your members depend on bribery to survive, because there are roadblocks everywhere, and they pass through roadblocks because they will carry 50 rands all the time just to give to police officers. That should be an indication that you are leading an association that's not growing. But don't lose hope. We can help you fix this. But for those of you who are e-hailing drivers and all of that, I have told you before, and I'm going to repeat it today, that you are not part of government, you're not part of the e-hailing platform's long-term strategy. They introduced Go when you had sedans, and sedans, Go took business from the sedans. Now they're introducing the scooters to move passengers. There's now a pilot here in Joburg. You'll now order an Uber and can move through the city with a motorbike. They are now eating into the Go business, because those short distances were actually being tackled by Go. They're going to eat into that market. You're not part of these things. And for as long as you resist help, as if you know what to do, it's not sustainable. You have seen it from the beginning to where it is today. There are opportunities that we can explore and we can help you. But you need to do something about this situation. You need to start putting yourself together. Cry out and shout for help, because there is help out there. There are associations that are in distress. There's conflict in the routes where you're operating. There's an association that's operating on top of the other one came after. There's a lot of these things. You have spoken to government about these things, but government has not done anything. As a matter of fact, some of you at the moment, you are actually losing your vehicles. We can help you. We can actually ask the financiers to investigate first before they take that vehicle. But we'll not be able to know that unless you come forward and say that our association, we know that almost all associations have problems. I mean, we have a situation in Limpopo where some associations, there's an association on top of the other. There's the same thing that is happening in the Eastern Cape, even with the long distance guys. From Matatiele into Durban, into Cape Town, there are a lot of things that are happening, but we are looking at all of these things. There's one person who's just more powerful than the other, and they can go around and showcase what they have and carry guns around. What is this? Are we supposed to be afraid? Are we supposed to be afraid? Because nobody can tell you that you're doing nonsense? It can't go on like this forever. Government officials are allowing some of these things. Associations are complaining to you. You keep quiet. Some of you are receiving brown envelopes, and we know about this. And you think all you can do is to fight your way through everything. You're not making money. You need to stop. But those government officials that are going around and making money out of desperate people, those officials that are making money, the traffic officers and police officers that are making money out of people that have been failed by the state, your time is up. But you as the drivers, you as the operators and associations, you also need to realize now you have been taken advantage of for far too long. You can't continue doing the same thing and hoping for a different result. Those who know better, they call that madness. We need to change the way we've been doing things. We are inviting you on this platform, on the bio of this very episode. You are also going to get a form. Please complete this form. Fill it up, because it's a form that reports the routes that are in crisis, so that we can come and help you, because we're going to get some data and be able to deploy the necessary tools to help you. But there are also politicians that are ignoring the cries from associations. There are a couple of associations in the Eastern Cape, Matatiele, and I know that Mtata, there's one. I know that there's a route that's going to Durban. We know these things because our own investigation shows that you guys are in trouble. But some of you are even afraid to talk because there are influential people that have more money, and you are afraid. Somebody was killed here in Bedfordview who came in one association when they arrived because they had the money, brought 20 vehicles. The association complained, went everywhere, called police, called the MEC, and the MEC and everybody could not do anything until the association decided that, you know what, we're going to have to kill this guy. They killed him. And there are these instances where following up on these things. We're seeing that in the Eastern Cape. We're seeing it in Limpopo. We're seeing it in KZN. We're seeing it even here in Gauteng. It's continuing spreading. Guys, you're going to finish each other. But the one thing that you're not going to change is money into your bank account. Stop. This is the only, the taxi industry is the only black-owned, the biggest in the public transport ecosystem. Please don't let it die. Don't fight your way through everything. In the Cape Town area, guys are beginning to shoot at the Intercape buses. What's your problem? You're trying to inconvenience them and make them fearful so that the passenger should not have the option and rely on you. And yet you're doing nothing to improve your service. Yet you're doing nothing to reprimand and account for the drivers that are mistreating and ill-treating our people. Where are we headed to? I'm going to charge you as an association. Please look at this episode. Look at your financials. Look at how much money does every member of your association makes. Look at that. Look at how much they're spending on petrol. Look at whether they are able, if they are new vehicles, look at whether they're able to finance or meet their monthly commitments and installments. If they can't, ask a question why. But if you have a route, an association that is only operating old, unroadworthy vehicles that are surviving on corruption and bribes, also ask a question. What can we do better? And if you don't have the answer to that, we can help you. Speak to us. We're not claiming to have all the solutions, but we can at least show you what is it that we have teams of people that would help you sort out this mess. Technology is here and we're going to use technology. It's not going to be Isaac. So even if you decide, no, this one speaks a lot, he has a big mouth, and let's go wipe him out, the technology will continue. Just stop the nonsense. Stop. Let's make the business work. Because your children and your families are dependent on this. You don't leave your house to go and kill people. You leave your house to go and make a living, or at least try to make a living for your children. Don't leave your house and you are carrying 1,000 guns because 1,000 guns might represent your behavior in the industry. Hang 10. There's still hope. Isaack Lesole, Transit Ringers, until we meet again in the next episode. Peace.
Yo, en het rijm.